I think my motivation for playing football is to win and be successful. And maybe there's little parts of motivation that come from different places or what people may say or think, but I'm mostly motivated from inside and wanting to be the best for my teammates and my coaches and my organization.
You know, what's interesting is the ripple effect this is going to have around the league, Michael.
Yeah.
Players, talent that otherwise possibly wouldn't have been available if Brady would have run it back and the Bucs would have tried to keep the band together again, could change the fortunes of other teams around the league looking for an infusion of talent. And let's go around the league now with our buddy Steve Wyche from NFL Network. We'll get to that in a second. But actually, I mean, Steve, you've been covering this league for decades now. I don't mean to date you. But, I mean, for the last 22 years, been covering this story of the 199th pick, 6th round of the NFL draft that would go on to be the greatest quarterback and some would argue the greatest player ever. The game always goes on. We all know that. However, this is the greatest. What kind of void does Tom Brady not playing quarterback leave in the NFL moving forward?
That's a great question because, guys, we all cover the NBA, and we were like, what kind of void is Michael Jordan when he's finally done going to leave? And like you said, the game went on. Superstars emerged. But, now what's going to happen is now that he's not playing, you don't have the guy that you love or you hate on the field. So, you just got that incredible antagonist-protagonist who always had a chance to beat your team or win for your team on the field. But just in terms of just the outright face of the NFL, it's Tom Brady. I mean, Deflategate didn't diminish that. Tom Brady is the guy everyone associates with greatness in the NFL, clutch play in the NFL. And so that's where the void is. I mean, in terms of talent, you're going to have the Patrick Mahomes and the Josh Allens and the Joey Burrows and guys like that step up and emerge as the next generation of guys. But I seriously doubt we're going to see another player win 7, especially. Think about the great years with New England. Rob Gronkowski is probably the only offensive player he played with that has a shot to get into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. When you think about all of the other great quarterbacks,
you mean for the majority of that player's career? I mean,
yeah.
Moss. Well, Moss is in. Oh, you mean so that?
Well, Moss is in, but I mean, Moss was there. Okay,
you don't consider him a Patriot as much?
Yeah, I mean, I guess you can. We could say Randy Moss, but I mean, it's kind of like the Dan Marino thing. Like, how many great offensive players did he play with? Tom Brady he is the ultimate kingmaker, right? He is the ultimate kingmaker. And so I think that's really what his legacy, besides the championships, will end up being. Players, coaches,
media. I mean, let's be honest about this thing. Like, he's made a lot of people a lot of money over the years.
Yep. His trainer, Alex Guerrero, he's got a lot of people paid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I told Mike before, look, man, he took care of the living room. Tom Brady got us our living room. So we're good. We love Tom Brady in the Holley household. Steve, what moment, what interaction stands out most to you? What Tom Brady moment or interaction stands out for you? Just your personal interaction with him.
Well, I've never had a ton of personal interaction other than like press conferences. But I tell you what was really one of the coolest things. So you guys know I do a bunch of stuff at the Pro Football Hall of Fame every year. I'm down in kind of the backstage stuff with all the players. And so this year when Peyton Manning was going in, I come around a corner, like there's a little green room underneath the stage. And so it's just mountains of greatness, gathered in this green room. I come around the corner, and here's Peyton and Tom to stand there face to face. These two arch rivals, clearly two good friends now. And they're talking. I walk up. I'm like, hey, congratulations. Good seeing you, Tom. Both of them. What's up? They're just, again. And this is just, our athletes, as we're fans, we have them on this holy pedestal, but they're, in essence, everyman. And so, Tom is just kind of that dude. And it goes to, anybody, and you guys know this, anyone he's played with, any coaches coach him will tell you, Tom is the dude who will make the practice squad guy feel special. We'll take extra reps with that guy. Yeah, Tom is making himself better by having this guy run after practice because all his receivers are tired. But at the same time, this dude is feeling special. And, you know, he had that effect. And that's why when he went down to Tampa Bay with new team, new coaches in the midst of COVID, where they couldn't gather for most of the offseason, he was able to fit right in and raise everyone's level of play just because of the human being he is that actually paralleled the competitor that he is.
Steve, this is just a footnote, but we're reporters, or, you know, I used to be a reporter, you know, so we're curious. What is your theory?
Some of my best friends are reporters, right?
Yeah. What is your theory? What is your theory about the last several days and just how it all unfolded? I mean, there was whispers and it became rumors and became, you know, don't be surprised if this is his last game leading up to the playoffs in the Rams game. And then afterward, you know, you had several well-connected people reporting it, only for Brady and the Bucks and Brady's dad to go out of their way to deny that a decision was made. He even went on his own podcast last night and talked about, I'll know when I know. And 12 hours later, here's a statement on Instagram. What's your theory as to how this sausage was made, if you will?
It's interesting because the two reporters who broke it, Adam Schefter and Jeff Darlington, are very, very tight with Brady's agent and Brady himself. So, you know, when it came out, I was kind of like, okay, these guys are connected. They're such pros that, you know, they're not just throwing the spaghetti on the wall to see if it sticks. And so when it came out a little bit later, like, hey, the Bucks haven't been told, Tom Brady's upset, you know, he hasn't, you know, decided when he's going to make his announcement. There was never any denial to the report. There was never any denial that this isn't true, this is hearsay, right? There was never any denial of it. And we've been there, guys. We have gotten ahead of stories that maybe broke a little sooner than people wanted them to break, and there's a little bit of outrage, and, you know, we as reporters are nervous, like, oh my God, I hope I didn't get this wrong.
Oh, yeah. Sleeping in a fetal position.
Yeah.
Correct. But, you know, when it comes out to be true, you're like, okay. The thing is, and this is probably me as I've gotten older, sometimes I play the fairways instead of the greens, right? I'm playing the long game by saying, instead of me going ahead and sinking this shot on 5 on the par 3, I'm going to play the long game, because some of the post-news interviews and opportunities to really do, you know, some really good storytelling pieces might be a little bit more meaningful than actually breaking the news that he's retiring. But I get it. I mean, again, those two dudes are totally piped into Brady's camp. And so it's more a matter of timing. It's more of a matter of timing than actual accuracy.
But see, that's the thing, and I'm sorry if I'm being stubborn here. I said this earlier. I think not the literal source. Well, I mean, I'm not going to speculate on people's sources. But go back to that phrase, Brady's camp. I think Brady was the last person to know that he was going to retire. I think that he was wrestling with this. I think he wasn't certain. I think his wife and his kids said that's it. And he knew that he was fighting a losing battle, and that this thing, at least internally, was still, in his mind at least, if for nobody else, in his mind, up for discussion. Maybe call it cold feet, when everybody around him, starting with the boss of his household, knew that this was it. So the report, I think more than one thing is true here. Because I struggle to believe that Brady just lied in order to announce it on a Tuesday with an Instagram statement. Like, because it's very anticlimactic when it was already reported on Saturday. He could have just gone with it if he wanted to. My point, Steve, is I believe, this is my belief, looking at all the things, that the sourcing was right, that he was going to retire, but he was still struggling and wrestling with it until he couldn't hold out any longer and had to get sent. That's just my theory.
No. My theory is this. He knew what he was going to do. It was a matter of timing, because you saw the reports earlier during the week that he's going to make a decision, and the timing of that decision, he does not want it to disrupt championship weekend or maybe some of the hoopla from the fallout. Those were the reports leading up to this. So it sounded like his decision was made once they were knocked out of the playoffs by the Rams the week before. And so maybe he started letting some people close to him know.
So let me ask you this.
Yep.
Just in the interest of time, let me ask you this. So once it breaks on Saturday, once TB12 posts it, why go through the charade of having them deleted, having the Bucks say he hasn't called and told us anything? Why have everybody lie on his behalf only to drop it on Tuesday? What's the significance of dropping it today? If it was already out Saturday, why do you sit there and fight so hard against it?
You already said it. You already said the significance. Didn't we just hear about Black History Month?
I was joking.
What the significance here? That's why I did it today.
Dang, you said Mike's accusing him of taking the $20 bill away from Harriet Tubman. No, look, Tom, we've seen this. Tom is the master of his own message. He's incredible on social media. He is incredible at delivering his own message, and somebody got to spoil the greatest to ever do its, way out. I mean, look, Sean Payton got to determine he didn't want to coach anymore. He got to go out on his own terms. Tom Brady probably wanted to go out on his own terms. And the fact that somebody leaked it, again, to two very plugged-in reporters had to annoy the hell out of him, clearly annoyed the hell out of him, which is why it is anticlimactic right now. I mean, it's just a matter of timing, but I'm sure Tom just wanted to control the narrative, as he has about all of his business throughout his entire career.
Well, Steve, I'm wondering, you tell me, we all love team building and have interviewed, general managers and coaches and those who build championship organizations. I'm wondering, if when I look at Tom Brady and what he's accomplished, have we learned our lesson? Have team builders learned their lesson about Tom Brady and the overlooked thing, which really drove him a lot, really got his attention? I'll put it that way. I won't say it drove him, but it got his attention and it gave him an extra push. And the reason I ask you that question is, here's a guy who was 20-5 at Michigan. He was a team captain. He won his last game in a comeback, last college game. Played in bad weather games. Big guy, 6'4", athletic, two-sport athlete, football and baseball. And yet he was a sixth-round pick. I'm wondering if there's a project coming out right now like Tom Brady. Is the NFL now saying, oh, wait a minute, we need to invest in this guy? Or are we still so caught up in big arm, fast, strong? Have we learned our lesson because Tom Brady showed us a different way?
No, but the dynamic is different, right? Coaches have a much shorter shelf life, right? If you don't get that quarterback and at least compete for a playoff berth, if not a championship berth, while that quarterback's on a rookie contract, you're gone. I mean, how many people have, get the type of latitude that Bill Belichick got? Remember, Tom Brady's first 3 Super Bowls, those teams were led by Richard Seymour, Teddy Bruschi, William McGinnis, and Ty Law. They were led by the defense and the running game. And the greatness of Bill Belichick, who's had a ton of different offensive coordinators, is they transform themselves. You were talking about Randy Moss earlier, from a short control ball offense to a vertical offense. So, no, right now teams are like, we got to get the big, fast, mobile, or strong arm guy. We got to get the coach who can coach him up, right? And we got to get, people in the stands and compete for a championship while this guy's on a rookie contract. Otherwise, I'm out of here. And we see it over and over again. And that's where the dynamic of just the overall longevity of self-preservation of head coaches has changed what we saw with Belichick and Brady.
Last thing I got on this for you, and I touched on it earlier, what's the domino effect here in terms of, where the Bucs go at quarterback? We obviously took Kyle Trask out of Florida, second round last year, if I'm not mistaken, or some of their free agents. Notable free agents that may end up on another team because they're less inclined to take a discount to running back or what have you. What's the domino effect of Brady walking away around the league?
Yeah, look, I mean, this is the year where the Bucs have to clean up their cap. So you might see guys, okay, Tom's not here, so we're not going to try to run it back. Let's let Sue go. Let's let Fournette go. Maybe Gronk retires. Maybe Sue retires. Maybe some of these big contract guys who they had on short-term deals, they go ahead and walk away. Now the Bucs enter the market of, okay, do we draft a quarterback and develop? Do we go out and get a Jimmy G type? There's all kinds of things like this. Because you look at the NFC South now, the Panthers are in kind of chaos. The Bucs don't have Brady. Maybe Bruce Arians walks away and Todd Bowles or Brian Leftwich takes over. The Saints, they're in salary cap hell, and Sean Payton walked away. If you're the Atlanta Falcons, there's no excuse now where you're not competing for the division. But the Bucs join the just probably more than a dozen teams now. They're going to get into the quarterback market, whether free agency trade or draft. And there aren't those 2 or 3 stud quarterbacks out there who are going in the top 10. So, again, they are now in the mix of what they do. But I think you're going to see more of them kind of step back, do the salary cap cleanup, and do kind of a rebuild more so than to try to get back in the competitive ranks in the next year.
Steve Wyche, we appreciate you, brother, man. We will see you in a couple of days in L.A.
Yes.
And we will
Come
chop
on.
it up out there, man.
Looking forward to it, my fellas.
Work. Also looking forward to seeing you on hosting Inspired Change, man. That looks like awesome platform.
And I'm glad you're doing that. Yes, me too.
Yeah.
Appreciate you guys. Appreciate you big time.
Hey, thanks for watching Brother from Another on YouTube. Make sure you hit subscribe before you leave, and be sure to watch us 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Peacock. Appreciate you.